Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am host Mark Francis. Meghan Markle's recent appearance at the LA Children's Hospital Gala has stirred some gossip, with claims that she attended for the photographs, according to her former friend Lizzie Cundy. The British socialite who was at the event on Saturday commented on the Duchess of Sussex's presence, noting that she seemed to lack warmth and stayed for only a short time. Cundy, who had a brief friendship with Meghan before the royal engagement, claimed to have been ghosted by her after Meghan's relationship with Prince Harry blossomed. She also noted that Meghan's reception in LA hasn't been as warm since she and Harry distanced themselves from the royal family, commenting that LA people feel they've been played by her. Meghan's solo outing has sparked a new round of rumours. Angela Levin, in an opinion piece for Sky News Australia, writes, 2 years ago, Meghan Markle said she and Prince Harry were like salt and pepper because they always move together, but that has changed suddenly. Harry has gone on a trip alone to New York, UK and Africa to catch up with various charities he cares about. It's a shock as he has lately been her subordinate. Is Meghan fed up with him? Or vice versa? Could it be the beginning of the end of their relationship? Meghan has been accused of dropping many people once they are no longer any use to her. Perhaps she feels she's reached global recognition and doesn't need him anymore. In a surprising revelation, Melania Trump has disclosed that she's been exchanging letters with King Charles for nearly 2 decades. According to her new memoir, the former First Lady first met the King in New York in 2005 and has maintained an ongoing correspondence with him ever since. The New York Times reviewed the memoir, noting that the pair have remained in touch for years, with Melania describing their relationship as an absolute pleasure. Their most recent encounter was during the Trump's 2019 state visit to the UK, where Mrs. Trump said they discussed King Charles' dedication to environmental conservation. She wrote, "This time we engaged in an interesting conversation about his deep-rooted commitment to environmental conservation." Reports also suggest that King Charles has exchanged letters with Donald Trump, including a private message of concern after an incident at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania where shots were fired. However, Buckingham Palace has kept the contents of these messages private. The relationship between King Charles and the Trumps seems amicable, in contrast to some of the more mixed reports surrounding Queen Elizabeth's interactions with Donald Trump. A former aide claimed that the Queen found the Trumps gracious and wonderful during their state visit, while other accounts, like those in Craig Brown's A Voyage Around the Queen, suggest she found the former president very rude. An interesting note from Marca.com, and we'll point out that we are not seeing this story anywhere else at all. Marca reported that journalist Concha Calleja told Fiesta, a program on Spanish television, that Kate needs to undergo some tests. If the cancer has gone into remission, she will have to undergo a minor procedure later on. Everything is fine for now. However, if the tests show that the treatments were not sufficient, a new chemotherapy session will be scheduled. For some perspective, Calleja previously claimed that Kate was placed into a coma during a post-op period. A source told the Times of London that rumour. No attempt was made by that journalist to fact-check anything that she said with anyone in the household. It's fundamentally, totally made up, and I'll use polite English here. It's absolutely not the case. Palace Intrigue, we'll be right back. Suits star Patrick J. Adams recently opened up about his relationship with former co-star Meghan Markle, revealing that they are not really in touch since her departure from the show in 2018. In response to a fan on Reddit thread asking, "Is it weird now that your co-star is royalty? Are you still in touch?" Adams explained, "She leads a very different life now for obvious and important reasons." Adams shared that despite their differing paths, Markle reached out after learning about the Suits Rewatch podcast he launched with co-star Sarah Rafferty. Upon hearing about the podcast, I got a lovely text saying how excited she was for us and asking how she could help in any way. He wrote, adding, "It was so lovely to still have that kind of support and friendship after so many years apart." In a podcast episode, Adams recalled how their connection began even before Suits. The pair had filmed a terrible pilot together, Adams joked there was a setting up of a romantic relationship in the pilot of that particular pilot too, and then we never saw each other again. The pilot failed. It was terrible and went away. However, during a chemistry read for Suits, they reconnected. Adams recounted, she was right there and she said, "Hi." And I went, "Oh my God, so good to see you." Their prior work together helped Markle land the role of Rachel Zane, with Adams noting, "It was just clear that we had an easygoing thing when we went into that room." Adams also praised Markle's performance during the casting process, calling her head and shoulders above the competition, stating that it was obvious she would get the part. "It was just so much easier than it was with anybody else," he recalled. Rafferty mentioned that Markle has been invited to join the podcast as a guest. Everybody's invited, and everybody has been so supportive. "We're confident that the Suits podcast wouldn't mind the bump a Meghan appearance would bring. Meghan is also invited to guest host Palace Intrigue for 6 months if she'd like, but we understand how busy she is working on her own podcast for Lemonada." King Charles has found himself at the centre of complaints regarding the town of Poundbury in Dorset, a model community designed based on his vision for urban planning. The picturesque town, intended to represent a harmonious blend of traditional architecture and sustainable living, is now facing serious issues that have left residents frustrated. Overflowing bins, rat infestations, and unpleasant odours have plagued the town, with locals complaining that rubbish collection has been neglected. One resident remarked, "The king would be horrified, as the situation has left parts of the town looking like a third world country. The uncollected waste outside multiple apartment blocks has sparked public health concerns and tarnished the reputation of Poundbury, which was meant to exemplify Charles' principles of architecture and community outlined in his 1989 book, A Vision of Britain." Charles may not want anyone to know about this next story, but can I interest you in the tale of an aging monarch transferring power to a younger royal in his early 40s? The Luxembourg royal family is undergoing a significant transition as Grand Duke Henri is preparing to pass some of his governing duties to his eldest son, Prince Guillaume. This change was marked by a lieutenancy ceremony at the Grand Ducal Palace, where Prince Guillaume was appointed as lieutenant representative, a role similar to Prince Regent. Although Grand Duke Henri, 69, will remain the official head of state, this shift allows Prince Guillaume, 42, to take on more responsibilities. Voluntary abdication has been a tradition in Luxembourg's monarchy, and this ceremony is seen as the first step towards Guillaume's eventual reign, though no timeline for full abdication has been set. The ceremony, which follows Grand Duke Henri's own path when he served as lieutenant representative before succeeding his father, will include the signing of a Grand Ducal decree and a swearing-in ceremony. Prince Guillaume and his wife, Princess Stephanie, have 2 young sons, one of whom is named Prince Charles. Don't forget, you can get Palace Intrigue commercial-free, along with hundreds of other shows and episodes from Caloroga Shark Media, including murder, mysteries, and romance stories. And our big one this October is Ghost, full of Halloween stories. And you can find Ghost Scary Stories wherever you find your podcasts. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.